big news out of the United States, both a win and a loss for Joe Biden. Now, for a long time, Swampy Joe has been desperately trying to get a whole collection of policies through in two major pieces of legislation. One is an infrastructure bill that's about roads and bridges. Well, that is $1,000 billion that has been passed by the Congress with not help of all of the Democrats. In fact, if it was just down to the Democrats, nothing would have happened. It was because some dozen or so Republicans helped him get there. As for the other $1.5 trillion of more things like climate change and other changes, well, that's being held up in the Senate right now. But for his part, finally Biden can talk, if nothing else, about the legacy that comes from spending more than $1 trillion.
A once-in-a-generation investment that's going to create millions of jobs, modernize our infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, our broadband, a whole range of things.
So that's the win. What about the loss? Well, of course, the United States has got its problems with vaccine rollout. It is way behind where we are here in Australia, despite that mega head start. And they have tried to put in place vaccine mandates affecting hundreds of thousands, nay, millions of people in the United States who at this moment have not been vaccinated. Now, we've shown you this before. While the media would have you believe that this is the toothless, knuckle-dragging Trump supporter, the reality is that it is poor people. Now, poor people come in all shapes, all sizes, all faiths, all colours and all political stripes. It is the poorest people in the United States, including African Americans in the state of New York, not to mention also African Americans in southern states, and yes, poor white people too. So they tried to put in place mandates to force people to get the jab. But unlike Australia, their constitution is actually being enforced. You see, the Fifth Circuit Appeals Court, which is essentially the level just above the states but below the Supreme Court, has said no, this shouldn't take place because it may not be constitutionally correct. If that's the case, then America will not move anywhere from where it currently sits when it comes to the vaccine. And you've got to imagine that Pfizer pill is going to be their answer when it comes to COVID. But this is a huge blow to the president because after losing the political skin of mandating vaccines way harder than our federal government has been able to do, remember, the states have been the ones that have been pushing hardest here. Well, the states in the United States are the way that places are pushing back. In fact, a majority of states are the ones who took this to court and have got a pause. One of the attorney generals from one of those states wrote this: "In a major win for liberty of job creators and their employees, the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit has just halted the Biden administration's first attempt to force vaccines on businesses with 100 workers or more." So a little win here, a big loss there. Ultimately, 1-1 when it comes to Swampy Joe's weekend.